Hey everyone, Joe Waxman here, the mediocre astrologer. Man, he's okay. What's up, guys? I hope you're doing okay. And in this video, I have a big one. A lot of charts to go through because we're gonna look at planets conjunct the MC. So, yeah, this should be interesting and I don't know, informative, educational, and fun, hopefully. Um, but yeah, guys, hit that like button and um let's get right into it. Obviously, I'm gonna have to do a lot of explaining as I go. All right. So I got a big list. I did four I tried to get about around four examples for each planet, including the luminaries, the sun, moon, all the seven planets, and then the nodes as well. So that's a lot. But I only did two of each node, and there's some doubles because multiple planets in the 10th house, but whatnot. But all right, planets conjunct the MC will indicate the kind of often career or public image that a person has, right? It deals with the public versus the ascendant would be the self, the seventh house would be relationships, personal, particularly, and fourth house home or roots, right? So anyway. So Mercury, obviously, for Napoleon Bonaparte, ruling the eighth house of domination and control and strategy. And uh, yeah, it's a very strong house. 11th house, hopes, wishes, dreams. Also, the 11th house is very social, political minded, right? And Mercury is very obviously intellectual, communicative. Mercury in the 10th in general can indicate like somebody who's a great manager, public speaker, organizer, intellectual public roles. Very strong for lots of career options, really. Leo will indicate sort of his, especially with the sun in Leo as well, kind of royal, regal, kingly aspirations for himself, right? Yeah. So, yeah, we're bringing in, yeah, 11th and 8th house. 8th house is very dominating and controlling, and 11th house is social political. Let's keep going. Prince. Now, these are alphabetical, not in this, not obviously not by organized by planet, but I'm just going to do by alphabet. So Prince has Pluto in the 10th in Leo at the anaretic degree of, Leo 29, almost in Virgo, right? The very last degree of, but it's also exactly conjunct his MC. So it's a very powerful career, right? And Prince was Plutonic. I mean, he had this hyper sexualization thing going on, you know. I mean, it's also tied to his ascendant and North Node and Neptune, obviously, and then his Sun is not fully in the eighth, but it's pretty close to the eighth cusp. So this kind of very powerful, obsessive. Prince was also, if you see our interviews with him, again, bringing the scorpionic element where he's like, talking about uh other things, right? Like conspiracy and like um deeper esoteric type stuff behind the veil kind of things. But very powerful, very dynamic, obsessive kind of yeah, placement for Pluto in the 10th. And Leo, of course, entertainment again, right? Creativity. And in a sense, you could tie it to the first house. You could say this is a co-ascendant lord, the not the physical one, which would be Mars and Aries, right? Very powerful, strong here in the fifth house of entertainment, but more like an energetic um, aspect to the ascendant, right? It's still tying in there. So he's up top in Leo. Yeah, makes sense. Now we're getting to Bach. South node conjunct the MC in Capricorn, North node, Cancer, fourth house, right? And so the South node conjunct the MC will indicate that in the early part of life, rising to the top, rising to the public eye is something that can be very easily achieved, right? And it's not that it would automatically happen. Of course, we have to also make the efforts, which he did. He was extremely prolific, right, in his music, but it really indicates that he can have success, especially at a young age, with his career. Then the North Node in Cancer in the fourth would indicate much more home and family orientation, right? With Pluto, however, Pluto is stationary. It's making it even more powerful. Something about his older age is going to be very deeply powerful, even though home and family and that sort of thing is going to be accented. Victoria, well, hold on. The other thing that you can look at, because we're talking about the MC, is you can look at the dispositor, which would be Saturn, and that's in the sixth house in Virgo. So, bringing in this element of hard work, right? Saturn in the sixth in Virgo is going to be very, very strict and hardworking and academic, right? Okay. Uh, I think it's Posh Spice, right? Victoria Beckham. She married David Beckham, but she's Posh Spice. And look at her MC. I mean, my gosh, Jupiter conjunct Venus in Pisces. Is there anything more posh than that? I don't think so, right? And so we're getting Venus with the fifth house, right? Entertainment. It's not it 11th whole sign house here. Career success, and dispositing her part of fortune. And then Jupiter ruling the sixth house of, daily routines and whatnot, competition. It's a competitive, even though Jupiter is not well, Jupiter can be competitive, right? So there's some competition there, conflict potentially. Jupiter is not going to be very conflictual, but competitive, yeah. And MC, or it's the MC Lord, right? So very strong here, Venus, Jupiter, right? And then so Venus, if you have Venus conjunct the MC, then you can have a career that is involved with beauty. Maybe you're very beautiful, like sometimes you'll see this with models, or in the arts, fashion, anything that's, any Venusian theme, especially in Pisces, creativity, right? And Jupiter is going to expand that. These are the two great benefics. Jupiter conjunct the MC is going to lead easily towards successful public career image, much more so, right? Jupiter expands, it's benefic, right? It's a very positive placement if you have it in the conjunct the MC or the 10th house, right? So this indicates a very creative career with beauty and arts and possibly music, right? It's not necessarily music, but in the artistic, creative beauty realm expansion. And then of course, posh is a perfect name for this combination, right? Jupiter, Venus conjunct the MC in Pisces. Right? So. And then we can look to Neptune as well to kind of get it further, and that's in Sag. So there's some, and that's, even though it's a square, it's harmonious because Jupiter is in domicile, but the co-ruler is Neptune. Obviously, Neptune's in Sag, which Jupiter rules. Jupiter is dignifying this through a square. So I mean, there's maybe I just there's some square quality, right? It's a word. No, it's not. Squareness to this, but it's not harsh, it's not bad, because these are so like forgiving planets, but it definitely will enhance the creativity, Neptune and Sag. Anyway, let's keep going. Russell Brand, funny guy. He does have Uranus very prominent in his chart, which would relate to his comedy, but it's not conjunct the MC. North Node is conjunct the MC, with not too far from Neptune. Right. So North Node conjunct the MC is going to show somebody who really, especially as they get older, is drawn towards the public light, to the public stage, right? Being out in public, making a name for yourself. I haven't heard much from him recently, but for a while he was all over the news everywhere. It's at 0 degrees, Sagittarius, a wild party man, philosophizing. Of course, he's a Gemini, so lots of talking and communication, media, and all that, right? Lots of Gemini going on here, but Sag, wild philosophy, and he delves into all that stuff. Like he was interviewing all the different people, like Eckhart Tolle and the Dalai Lama. I think I don't even remember, but So yeah, but definitely like a pull, a real drive, obsession with becoming more and more public. All right. So this can often lead a person to fame, especially as they get older. Warren Buffett. Of course, Venus in Libra, right? And South Node. Uh, but so Venus in Libra, I mean finance, like wealth. And what is he known for? Being a very wise investor, right? Libra, balance, right? Making good choices. Um, of course, he's got, a lot of things going on. We're not going to look at all that, but yeah, money, wealth, abundance, right? Could be Jupiter here, but Venus and Libra is certainly appropriate. South Node, right? So from a young age, and then North Node, Uranus, something very shocking about um, his as he gets older, very dynamic. Um, right. Well, we're not talking about that, but anyway, just this. But and so with houses ruling fifth house. So fifth house is the house of speculative investments. So that adds up as well, and obviously the MC, right? Right. So for speculative investments and the MC Venus and is very, very prominent, making a career out of that, out of making good financial choices, right? And being known for it. Right. Jim Carrey. Right. All right. Uranus and Leo at the anaretic degree, conjunct is MC. Also Pluto, North Node, but Uranus for comedy. Right. Uranus can have other significations, and we'll look at some of those too, but definitely for comedy, Uranus is very strong, right? And he's got all these Aquarius planets. Obviously, the Aquarius planets are going to activate the Uranus. And yeah, we can tie it to these, and that's third house. So expression, hands, communication, right? Leo, entertainment, fame. So yeah, of course, Neptune on the ascendant. Edgar Casey, Pluto. Now we're talking about the more esoteric qualities of Pluto, right? With Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet, he had Uranus rising. Pluto conjunct the MC. Pluto drawing on the fourth house. Interestingly enough, he was the sleeping prophet. So that's kind of it's also conjunct the moon. So moon in Taurus, exalted moon. I mean, widely 10 degrees, but still. And of course, this, absolutely phenomenal Pisces stellium in the seventh, moving into the eighth, with the sun fully in the eighth. Right. A lot of psychic energy here. Right? But Pluto's making his career, his public persona, his public image very, very powerful. And, bringing in, again, that occultic, esoteric, spiritual quality that Pluto also has, right? It's not just about some more like, like obsessing about power and control. There, Pluto can have this much more esoteric, energetic, spiritual quality. It's also transformational, right? I don't know how that relates, but to his life, because I don't know enough about his life. But anyway, powerful, very powerful. Da Vinci, Leonardo da Vinci. Okay, Da Vinci's got Neptune at 0 degrees Libra, with Saturn also in Libra, exalted in the 10th, right? So he's a very, an authority on Libran things, which he was a Renaissance man. So yeah, absolutely fantastic artist, beautiful everything, right? Beautiful painter, beautiful drawing, brilliant genius kind of mind, all these things. But Neptune is arts, right? Neptune is creativity, and then Saturn for his leadership and his absolute authority in the realm of the arts, right? Absolute master, Leonardo da Vinci, right? And Neptune, we can dispositing is Jupiter and Moon, Jupiter and Pisces Moon, and this is an excellent combination as well, even though they're not super close. It's 14 degrees apart. I mean, I'm supposed to talk well because it's tied to Neptune. So, but anyway, great conjunction here in the third house, skills with the hands, right? Beautiful. All right. highly creative, and then that's part of his career. And then Venus in Taurus in the sixth, right? Venus in domicile, sixth house, everyday, daily beauty. So yeah, very, very powerful. Retrograde indicates that it's going to be unorthodox, right? He's just going to be doing his own thing, and he's not going to go with the flow. He's going to be questioning a lot. Now we got Clint Eastwood, and Clint Eastwood also has Neptune, and very, very different from Leonardo da Vinci, believe it or not. Clint Eastwood and yeah, Leonardo da Vinci. They're not at all alike. I mean, who would have thought? But Clint Eastwood has Neptune at 0 degrees Virgo, which is very, very Neptune's associated with Pisces, so that we could say this is probably not the best dignity for Neptune, but Neptune nonetheless. And 0 degrees is powerful, right? Because it's pure energy, right? When it's at 0 degrees, and it's pulling in the fifth house element, right? Because Pisces ruling the fifth cusp. So it's bringing in that element, entertainment, right? And Virgo also, for more hard creative roles, like because he's a cowboy, he's like guns shooting and stick them up, bang bang, all that, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly type stuff. But he made movies too. He wasn't just an actor. He made a lot of movies, and so Virgo's very good for all that, right? Yeah, creativity, the arts, especially, and then Virgo bringing in the element of the directing, producing, writing, and all that. Billie Eilish. Eyelash. All right, she's got Venus conjunct the MC, also Sun, and a lot of planets. My gosh, Pluto and South Node, Chiron, Mercury. All right. So let's look at Venus. Venus ruling the 8th house and the 3rd house. So expression, and then the 8th house of sex and death and rebirth, and so like it's bringing this dark, and we see that with Billie Eilish. I can't help it. I mean, it's like, why would it's so close to it. Anyway, yeah, she's got this 8th house, she's got this darkness, and that's also Pluto here, but it's bringing in that 8th house element and like the sexuality, and in Sagittarius, so it's adventurous. It's very unique, right? Very odd. But the Venus for the beauty, for the music, 3rd house for the, I don't know if she plays any instruments. You'd think she would, but just generally being very expressive, 3rd house, and communicative. All right. And then if we want to look at the sun, then obviously that's well, that's 6th house. But the sun generally is like, really wants fame, and in the 10th house, or conjunct the MC, really wants fame and recognition, and can get it, but it's really about the desire for being the sun, like you're having your sun, your star on the top, the very top, above everyone. Kind of this very public pride and ego, and it's a fame indicator naturally. Yeah, hopefully, ideally. But yeah, 6th house would mean that, okay, so she's probably writing her music, right? Because 6th house will be like, kind of bring in that hard work ethic quality, like wanting to do the daily, being in the daily mix of things. So yeah. All right. Queen Elizabeth II, Saturn in Scorpio, right? So Saturn is authority, leadership, rigid rules. Yeah. And Scorpio is very dominant. So Saturn in Scorpio is like a deep, harsh, it's like ruling. It's also our ascendant lord, right? Ascendant lord in Scorpio. It's very dominating, right? It's very dominating. Yeah. A bit harsh if you ask me. A bit, it's not really a nice Saturn. It's retrograde, so it's like Scorpio can be criminal. Scorpio can, I mean, this is just the facts. Scorpio can be very it's so intense. It's not about equal relationships. It's about power and controlling others, right? That's her ascendant lord. She's the queen. I mean, yeah, it's a very severe, intense um quality. And it's first, mostly first. I mean, it's ruling the second whole sign house, but not the cusp. So really it's just about her as the authority in Scorpio, dominating authority, right? And retrograde makes it just unorthodox. She's not going to listen to others. She's just going to do what she thinks needs to be done, right? There's also a lot of squares going on, but that would be too long. That would take too long to really break down. It's also North Node Pluto in Cancer, right? She's a woman, so that makes sense. Powerful, extremely powerful woman. Six moving to the seventh. But we could look at Mars too because it's dispositing it. So Mars conjunct Jupiter in Aquarius, second whole sign house, but first, but definitely leading to okay, well, Aquarius society, like controlling, ruling over society, right? Mars, Jupiter. And then of course this, Venus and Pisces in the second house with pointing to her wealth. Let's keep going. Pablo Escobar, the famous drug lord, Colombian drug lord, right? Sun conjunct the MC by 1 degree in Sagittarius, and Sun is ruling the sixth house with dispositing Pluto, though, right? So that's interesting that it's the sixth house. Daily, daily work, hard working, daily work, daily routine, but it's Pluto and Leo's, right? So something about this, Leo in the sixth with Pluto, the sun, his ego is here. Chiron is making it something, extremely unique, one of a kind, like irreplaceable. It's not with Chiron, there's no copying. With Chiron, even more so than Uranus. Well, it's just different. It's a little different. They have a similarity, Uranus and Chiron, and they're pretty similar in their orbits too. But Chiron's just so unique and different, right? And Pablo Escobar, it's not like what do you want to grow up? What do you want to do when you grow up, Pablo? I want to be a drug dealer. No, nobody says that. I want to be a drug lord. We can look to Jupiter because that's also the ascendant lord and dispositing the MC, and that's at 0 degrees Aquarius. Interestingly enough, almost conjunct the 12th cusp, but little outside. But yeah, anyway, 12th would make sense for like, foreign exotic things. 11th would bring in the group element, group dynamic, gang, right? Anyway, sixth house for conflict, right? Obviously, right? Especially with Pluto, dispositing Pluto. So it's like conflict and power dominating, right? Being the underdog and the overdog at the same time, because Pluto is not the underdog. Pluto is the overdog. Pluto is the champ, right? But sixth house is the underdog. But so a lot of fighting and conflict with this here, and ego and pride, tons of ego. Harrison Ford, right? Mercury and Jupiter in Cancer. So Mercury is ruling the ninth, right? So adventure, like Indiana Jones, right? And then look at all these ninth house planets to back that up. 12th house, foreign exotic things, right? So what's Harrison Ford's like? There's Indiana Jones, and then there's Han Solo, right? That's very ninth house-esque because he's like an adventurer, he's a traveler, he's a wild man, right? So yeah, and then Jupiter backs that up as well. Very, exalted Jupiter and Sun, Moon, and Cancer. Interesting. Mercury for communication, public communication, and just being a wise guy. With Mercury and Jupiter together, it really expands expression. I've got them both in Taurus in the seventh house. makes me a bit more expressive. So yeah, Jupiter's great for, I mean, he's got a loaded 10th house, so he's got, for career success, Jupiter is excellent. Bill Gates. Bill Gates has Moon conjunct the MC, and so like Bill Gates with all his billions of dollars and his all his Scorpio wants to inject little kids with GMO vaccines. I mean, that's his whole thing. But like Moon conjunct the MC is going to make your heart more towards like the public, right? And that we see that, and it's not in a positive way with Bill Gates, right? Because he's an evil man. He's like an evil, horrible human being. Jupiter, Pluto in the second. I mean, just talk about his own, you know, blown way out of proportion, his own self-image, right? Second house is, self-image, self-confidence, self-esteem. Jupiter and Leo conjunct Pluto is just like megalomania. He just thinks he's God. Oh my God. Give me a break. But that's his ascendant lord too, Moon. It's in Aries, so it's very focused. But he's like he wants to like, inject all these GMO vaccines in everyone. It's also opposite Mars and Libra, so this passive aggressiveness. So yeah, I mean, not a savory character at all, Bill Gates. But Moon in the conjunct the MC will, you're going to be thinking about taking care of the public, right? With Moon there. Alexander the Great was he was the he ruled the Greek Empire and expanded it greatly. Of course, Pluto on the ascendant, but Uranus, conjunct part of fortune and MC, in Capricorn, right? So Uranus for politics, for brilliant, genius kind of, especially with this very strong Pluto, the strategy is going to be not only genius, it's going to be unique and kind of revolutionary, right? Capricorn is captain, right? It's definitely so like shocking leadership, politics, social issues. It's opposite his Mercury, so he's bringing in, his intellect, probably just like a military genius, right? We especially get that with Pluto on the ascendant. But yeah, Uranus conjunct that would be something extremely revolutionary, shocking, independent. And then North Node in Aquarius, of course, it's gonna tie into the 11th house because Uranus co-rules that and dispositing the North Node. So very powerful. 11th house for career success, also politics, and it's Aquarius, right? Right, Aquarius and 11th house because Aries rising, right? So yeah, very natural. It's the natural zodiac right here. Liz Green, astrologer, famous, one of the most famous astrologers. Um, Scorpio rising, Sun in Virgo, conjunct the MC, Sun ruling the 9th house, right? So 9th house dispositing Pluto and Saturn. So Pluto for the occultic kind of bent that she's on, astrology, right? But also 9th house. 9th house is going to elevate astrology. Some people say astrology is found in the 9th house. I don't think so, because it's just not like astrology is not a 9th house topic. Astrology is philosophy. I mean, 9th house is philosophy, religion, and spirituality. It's connection to God. Pre-God is 8th house. That's where you get into like the esoteric nitty-gritty, right? That's where you get into like the secrets of the esoteric stuff. So 8th house is much more astrology, but Pluto is as well. So is Uranus and Aquarius, right? North Node conjunct Uranus and Gemini. So that's very prominent for her astrology. Sun dispositing Pluto conjunct the MC also. 9th house elevating it, right? 9th house is taking it to a higher level, taking it to the advanced level, expert level. Sun is also opposite part of fortune, so tying in that. But yeah, I mean, Sun conjunct the MC definitely helped her to reach the kind of fame and notoriety that she did. It really helped her career out a lot. So yeah, that's why she's one of the most famous astrologers and one of the most successful. Of course, Virgo too. We hold on. Right, Virgo's Mercury and Virgo. So that's also dignifying the sun. Yeah. Tom Hanks plays a nice guy on TV. Definitely not a nice guy. He's one of these pedophiles, like these Epstein Island. I mean, yeah, it's horrible, but that's what they do. They rape kids and they drink adrenochrome and traffic kids, and they're horrible human beings. He's one of them, but very successful career. Venus in Gemini, conjunct the MC. Venus is ruling the ninth house, so like, okay, Castaway, right? Ninth house. Forrest Gump, run, Forrest, run. Long distance running. But yeah, something about like adventure and travel and stuff like that is going to be, and Venus, fun, Gemini, creative, expressive. I mean, Venus is creative, Gemini is expressive. South Node in Gemini, ninth, but 10th sign house, right? Disposited by Mercury, also in the 10th in Cancer. So it's still, together in the 10th house, right? Venus is ruling the ninth, and the second. So for speaking, right? Actors always often have second out, and he's got Neptune in Libra, stationary in the second, but that's dispositing is part of fortune, and the stationary Neptune in Libra is Venus. So definitely very strong for acting and creative career and all that. And everyone thinks he's such a nice guy. He's not. He's not at all. He's not. He's a devil, just like a lot of these other people. Kamala Harris. I mean, why did I laugh when I pulled up Kamala Harris? Probably because she's got a Gemini rising and North Node exactly conjunct her ascendant, but we're not talking about that. But she is like this cackling hyena, Gemini rising. Funny. So Kamala Harris is like an almost leader, right? Because like this is really interesting. She has Saturn in good dignity. It's in Aquarius. It is retrograde, but then it is conjunct her MC, but out of sign. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to show like why nobody really respects her as a leader. First of all, her MC is in Pisces, right? Pisces is not very that's not authoritarian, right? You don't necessarily want a Piscean leader. The Piscean artist, Piscean spiritual person, even like for physical stuff, but not like leadership. But anyway, so this is weird, a little bit weird, right? Pisces MC plus Saturn out of sign conjunct in Aquarius. Saturn in Aquarius is good, and Saturn in Aquarius probably shows she has, I mean, definitely some political, at least inclinations. I mean, with Aquarius, and leadership, but there's something weird about her. I mean, plus also Chiron is squarely in the 10th in Pisces, retrograde, and so that's probably what we're looking at when we see Kamala Harris, and we're like, you don't belong there. Why are you there? You don't belong there, right? Chiron in Pisces is like just, I mean, it's something extremely unique and different, but not uh in Pisces, not a political leader. I don't think so, right? So, but we can look to so Jupiter's in Taurus in the 12th. So there's some secret stuff going on here. Because Jupiter's ruling the MC, right? So she's like, behind closed doors favors and things like that, secret, dealings and wheelings and all that. Saturn is ruling the 9th and the 8th. So yeah. Eighth house for power and control and domination, and also a lot of secret stuff can come out of the 8th house, right? From the 8th house. All right, keep going. Stephen Hawking, Pluto in Leo, Chiron also. So Pluto for the science, right? Especially the very powerful kind of science that he was involved in. He has the exact same moon as me, by the way, 19 degrees Virgo. He's got the North Node here, right? The very analytical, very organized Virgo moon for that kind of thing. Yeah. The MC is disposited by the Sun in Capricorn in the third house, so the intellect. Captain Capricorn in the third house. And Chiron also for his, very, very unique public image, for his very unique image altogether, but it was very public, right? Pluto makes him very powerful in his career, and he was. And we could tie it to the second cusp, which is interesting because he couldn't even speak, right? But he's got the Pluto and Chiron transformation, right? It transformed his voice, certainly transformed his appearance. Because when he was young, he wasn't in a wheelchair, and then he found out he had this disease and so forth, so on. Paris Hilton. What's really interesting is that I included some of these charts because it's like, even if this person, even if a person hasn't really done much to deserve fame, they can still get famous. Like, what has Paris Hilton done? Just be like, she's pretty. I mean, okay, so she got Neptune and Sag in the first. I admit she's kind of pretty, not like the prettiest girl in the world, but she definitely looks, she has good looks. I mean, certainly exotic, pretty, good figure. Then she got Saturn exactly conjunct Jupiter and Libra, conjunct her MC and Pluto, right? And so Jupiter is the ascendant lord, and it is, well, it's not even ruling a cusp in this one, but it would be the third cusp if it was over just slightly. Anyway, communicate. She was on TV. She had her TV show. She had her sex tape, and then so Saturn's even stronger. It's exalted. And Saturn's ruling the second and third cusp, right? So again, speaking, so public, yeah, just like speaking, communicating in public. Saturn, Saturn in Libra is a judge, right? It's a very good placement. Of course, Jupiter is not as strong in Libra. Saturn is, right? Saturn's the dominant one. So that's interesting. It's not, I would think maybe Mars would be doing something there because Hilton family, right? But that's in Pisces. I mean, the Pluto definitely changes the dynamic a lot, even though it's not conjunct, it's still in Libra. So it's not just Saturn and Jupiter, you're getting also Pluto. They're also retrograde, right? And the Pluto brings up like the kind of toxic, destructive element that Paris Hilton has, because Jupiter and Saturn are very mature planets, especially in Libra. You're gonna be very balanced, very relational. And the Libra really plays in strongly because we know that she's all about relationships, like, right? She's just a Libran kind of person. So that's very strong, but the Pluto brings in that toxic element, potentially, the sexuality, the obsessiveness, right? Especially in the public stage. Disposited by Venus and Aquarius, South Node, Sun in the third house. So yeah, communication, stuff like that. Aquarius. It's just weird, it's just making it very unique. I don't know how else. I mean, just thinking about her. Anyway, yeah, interesting combination there. Saturn, when Jupiter and Saturn are in Libra, Saturn definitely takes the leading role. Right? So it's definitely going to be much more second house and third house. So yeah, over her. So it's interesting, right? I guess she's kind of an authority on fashion, right? Perhaps. Anyway, let's keep going. Heinrich Himmler, a Nazi. A Nazi. He was head of the SS. Let me just read his Was the commander of the German SS, one of the most powerful men in Nazi Germany. He controlled the SS and the Gestapo. Um, Under officer in charge of the Nazi concentration camps, blah, blah, blah. And he was responsible for exterminating between 11 and 14 million people. Good guy. Really nice person. But well, he's got North Node and Jupiter and Uranus, and then why the Chiron conjunct the MC. But let's see here. Jupiter is ruling the second house, values, resources, assets, speaking. Right, Jupiter is definitely it's in good dignity, so it's gonna help him rise to the leading ranks of the Nazi regime. And second in MC, right. If we're talking about Uranus, that's going to bring in the Aquarian element of politics. It's also it would be like the co-ruler of the ascendant. Anyway, but yeah, politics, social issues being very shocking in public. Right? North Node bringing a lot of obsession. But what's really interesting is that if we look at this aspect, Moon Mercury, it's in conjunct. Mercury is in Scorpio, Moon's at 0 degrees Aries, and they're both at the 0 degrees. But this Mercury is totally dominating this Moon because Scorpio, it's eighth house, it's eighth from the Moon, and the Moon is the heart, right? And so if this tight aspect exact, it's almost within minutes, right? This Mercury is dominating the Moon, so that means his intellect is dominating his heart, and intellect is in Scorpio. Scorpio is dominant, right? This is a clear indication that his thoughts, his scorpionic thoughts, his intellect was completely overriding his heart. So that's how you become a Nazi. That's one way to have your intellect override your heart, right? If you want to become a Nazi. I don't. All right, Michael Jackson, Saturn in Sag conjunct the MC, right? And so when Saturn is conjunct the MC, you really have a leader of different sorts, right? Here we have Sagittarius. We can look to what planet or what sign. So 11th and 12th for dance, right? 12th for dance. Because feet and Pisces, right? And Jupiter. So yeah, 12th for dance and masterful dancer, right? Masterful. 11th house, yeah, groups, networks, but career success, hopes, wishes, dreams. Yeah, it's just an all-around good house to incorporate. I mean, the groups and networks we could see when he was younger, the Jackson 5. As he gets older, not so much groups. I mean, he was a solo artist, but hopes, wishes, and dreams. Social concern. Right? And I think he was socially minded. Right? But Saturn, yeah, master, leader, authority. Sagittarius. So we can look to Jupiter, and Jupiter's in Libra conjunct the North Node in the eighth house, which is not great because he died obviously, and he died of drugs. Neptune in Scorpio. But yeah, eighth house is also going to be very powerful, and I mean sketchy potentially, especially in relationships. There was a lot of scandals with him and the kiddos. I think we all know that. All right. Kylie Jenner, Mars in Libra. Right? Kylie Jenner. So Kylie, one of the Kardashians. Right? And she actually she's famous for a reason. She made her, I mean, I think she's a model, but she also made like a fashion company that made her billions, right? I mean, in no small part due to like the success of the TV show and her family, right? But and Mars is ruling the fourth house, so powerful family, right? Yeah, passive aggressive, but still Libra is going to be excellent for fashion. Mars for sexuality, right? Passion. Yeah. So I mean, it makes and then so Chiron, um, not about wounded healing, but just Chiron is about like just like something just completely unique. And yeah, I mean, odd, different, but in this case, it works. It's square Neptune, but actually Mars is really dignifying this Neptune. So like her imagination, her vision is going to be enhanced. Right? Neptune has that quality. It's like I have a dream, and then if that dream is good, it has good dignity, it'll work. And Mars is dignifying it. It's through a square, so it's probably some hard work, but Jupiter on the second for wealth. Yeah. We can look to Venus. Venus is in Virgo. Venus and Virgo also not in great dignity, but also Virgo, Venus, Virgo for fashion, it's excellent, right? Venus and Virgo is very picky, but they're going to be like, no, not this, not that, not that, this exactly, and this, and don't fuck it up. This and this alone. That's what I want. Do it. Get it done. So, I mean, obviously, she's going to have that Virgo critical quality to it, and it's North Node, and it's Mercury, Mercury and Virgo, exalted Mercury domicile. So that's going to help that a lot. So yeah, it's going to be pretty successful. I'm not going to analyze more because it would just take too long. Miss Angelina Jolie, Jupiter, right? Jupiter in Aries with Moon and Mars. And Jupiter's ruling the ninth house. Very adventurous, right? All her movies, a lot of her movies are her being somewhat of a badass, right? Jupiter, Mars, and Moon, of course, like carrying that heartfelt quality. Jupiter also ruling the sixth, so conflict, competition, competitiveness. What is she was I can't remember. She was in so many different movies, but some of them she's like an adventurer, like an adventurer who does lots of physical stuff and stuff like that. But Jupiter in general is going to bring success to the MC, right? Going to expand the career, expand the public image. Moon is her ascendant lord. Venus on the ascendant. That's going to be great for beauty generally. Moon is conjunct Jupiter. That's also a really great combination. Mars and Aries conjunct Moon is not great, but Jupiter's there. That's protecting the Moon. So all in all, like, yeah, I mean, a lot going on there with that. It's disposited by Mars. I mean, it's ruled by Mars and Aries, so that's all good. Mars trine Neptune, that works out well for being a movie star, adventurer. Yeah. Mercury and Gemini. All right, let's keep going. Michael Jordan, also Jupiter in Jupiter and Pisces, conjunct the MC from a little bit from the ninth, but still. Right. So Jupiter expanding his public, right? Not all basketball players are like super famous like Michael Jordan. Granted, he's probably the greatest basketball player of all time, but also super famous, right? And like you can walk outside, like especially in America. I don't know what's like in other countries, but if you go out into like any city in America, you'll probably see Air Jordans right today. Like, and they were released way back in like the 80s, and there's still people are still wearing them, right? So it's ridiculous. So Jupiter is, Jupiter also going to relate. It's going to relate to his jumping ability as well. Like he can fly, like, right? Kind of. Jupiter's the legs, the feet. Jupiter's the feet and the thighs, right? So it's gonna Jupiter in good dignity, especially conjunct the MC. Definitely is gonna feel like carry this image of like like flying or just jumping really high. It's ruling the sixth house, so definitely very competitive, physically competitive, which he was, and the MC. So yeah, very, very good combination for public success, fame. Kim Kardashian. We got two Kardashians in here. And I think there was even more, like I think Chloe had something conjunct the MC, and that's all I remember. Anyway, Jupiter and Virgo. So Jupiter obviously not in great dignity in Virgo. So Kim Kardashian cannot fly like Mike. But she can put out a homemade sex tape and make herself famous. Jupiter and Virgo does not have does not have the integrity, dignity like Jupiter and Pisces. Jupiter is ruling the fourth cusp, dispositing her moon. It's actually exactly opposite her moon. Jupiter is dignifying her moon. Moon ruling the eighth house in the fourth, sex, right? But also Jupiter ruling the fourth, family, right? Family, famous family, powerful family, Jupiterian family. Venus also in Virgo, so like, yeah, hyper picky. Kim Kardashian is probably way too picky, right? Yeah. I mean, she does have Saturn in Libra, that's nice, and you know, and then Sun conjunct Pluto in Libra, so sex tape, yeah, you better believe it. And then of course also Neptune rising. So that's going to give her more of this exotic look, which she does have. But Jupiter definitely. So like she didn't do anything. She made a sex tape and she's like all of a sudden famous. Like whatever. Funny. Incidentally, I don't know if she passed the bar exam, but she was studying to be a lawyer. Saturn in Libra. I guess Jupiter and Virgo is probably also good for that. Venus and Virgo helps a lot. JFK, Saturn in Cancer, conjunct the MC. Amazing, right? Saturn for leadership, authority, but it's in Cancer. So he's obviously not, he was an emotional leader, right? And that's probably what got him killed because he's clearly brilliant. I mean, he's Mercury stationary and it's mutual reception with Venus, Sun in Gemini, right? And Uranus is stationary as well. It's amazing, right? And then Uranus is square Mercury and Jupiter. Okay, I don't want to get lost in this, but so Saturn is ruling the fourth, so Kennedy family, and fifth house, entertainment, really. Like the entertainment, so like fifth house, people probably love to see him on TV. People probably love to see him in magazines. People probably love to see photographs of him and film of him because of the fifth house element. And it's bringing this brilliance of the Aquarius, stationary Aquarius. It's going to be genius. Especially trying this, Mercury, stationary Mercury and Jupiter. But yeah, but Saturn and then Neptune in Leo also. So yeah, it doesn't bode too well for this Saturn because of the dignity here. So yeah, he's a leader and he's brilliant, but his emotions are getting the best of him and people see weakness in him. So and it's like, no, he can't go on as a leader. It's disposited by his moon in Virgo, moon square Venus, almost the same moon as me. Anyway, yeah, let's keep going. Martin Luther King, Sun in Capricorn from the ninth house, conjunct the MC. So he was a preacher, right? That's how he learned his oratory skills. He was preaching all the time, and then he became civil rights leader. Captain Capricorn, Sun, ego. Sun ruling the fourth whole sign house. and most of the fourth house, not the cusp, but we'll say fourth house. So fourth house meaning land, home, or home people, right? So like home for him in this case was the black people. He was, taking black people, which is his home, his home people, um, to the top, to the public, right? Uh, you know, speaking on behalf of the black people, of his people. So yeah, as the captain. Hold on. Just want to look at sound. Okay, so then sorry, just need to be complete. So disposited by Saturn in the eighth house, which is interesting considering that his untimely early death. These are semi-sextile, so it's definitely relating. And then Saturn is dignifying the sun. So I mean we have to look at that as well. But yeah. And Saturn actually in the eighth can be um uh these people can lead an organization that has eighth house qualities. So it can be charitable, a charitable organization or a very powerful organization, right? Saturn in the eighth. Sagittarius, religious, definitely. So leader of a religious organization, right? Um, Jennifer Lawrence, Mercury and Virgo, conjunct the MC. So it's ruling the MC, and it is ruling the seventh house. So if it's ruling the seventh house, especially with Moon in Gemini in the seventh, so then she's going to do very well with partnerships, especially in her movies, right? She'll have good co-partners in her movies. Works well with others. People like her, right? Seventh house. And then speaking, being more intellectual, right? I mean, she's obviously like a beautiful woman, but there is like this kind of like it just feels a little bit mercurial to me because it's a little more, there's something a little bit more dry about her appearance, her public persona. So it's Mercury and Virgo quality, right? But definitely strong speaking, communicating quality. Abraham Lincoln. So he's got the Neptune Saturn conjunct the MC in Sagittarius. So Saturn again for leadership, right? Strong leadership. Neptune for kind of like this a fantasy vision, um, idealism, and also how we perceive Abraham Lincoln as like kind of like this larger than life figure, right? And we have the statue of him on the what is it, Washington D.C., where the big statue of Lincoln is, right? Saturn's is his MC Lord and the 12th Lord, which is interesting. Again, bringing in themes of Neptune. So something foreign, exotic, but also subconscious and idealism, right? Especially also like all this incredible Pisces stellium in the first, moving into the second house. So he's very, very idealistic, right? Following a vision, following a dream of something. And of course, North Node, Uranus, where Uranus is stationary in Scorpio, that was played a major part in that. And Jupiter's in Pisces, conjunct. I should take that out. Doesn't really belong. We don't need that. Juno. I was looking at Sinistry, so that's where it comes in. But part of Fortune, Pluto, Ceres, Mercury, dignifying this whole Pisces sign, Jupiter, first house, second house. So speaking, he was an excellent speaker, right? Jupiter, second house, or conjuncting the second house. Anyway, George Lucas, Mr. Star Wars, has South Node conjunct the MC and Moon in the 10th. But so South Node conjunct the MC, especially in Capricorn, will show an early rise to success, an early rise to kind of a leadership position in his field. Then we can look to Saturn as well. Saturn's in Gemini in the second house, so second and third house significations. Gemini, like so, speaking and writing or communicating, and yeah, Saturn will be the ruling planet. Fourth house, interestingly enough, I just add this, would play a part in the movies of just how he like has such a good feeling for land, right? Like he can make whole worlds, right? And that's gonna be a fourth house thing, especially like terms of fantasy. It would be like, okay, somebody's really gonna create a whole landscape that's like totally legitimate and real. But yeah. Okay. David Lynch, Twin Peaks guy. Moon conjunct MC, Moon and Virgo. Moon's ruling the ninth house, so something he studied in this case, right? Studied film, dispositing Saturn and Mars, exactly conjunct in Cancer, where they both are, not very dignified. But for movies, that's great. And you get like, you get bad actors, you get criminals, you get hypersexuality and hyper violence and things like that. And Mercury's in Capricorn. Yeah, it's trine and it's in Capricorn in the second house, so definitely like relating to speaking and communicating, writing, directing, Capricorn, Virgo, producing, all that. Paul McCartney, Sun in Gemini, conjunct the MC. Paul McCartney was brilliant. He was the heart of the Beatles, if you ask me. I know some people will probably say it was John Lennon. And, I'll give it up. It was before my time, so I didn't really catch the original spirit of the Beatles, right? But from the aftermath and from what I read and heard, it seems like Paul McCartney was the real genius of the Beatles. Like he was writing music, playing it, recording it all on his own, and like way quicker than anyone else. Like he would just do that, and then the other guys would be like, "Hey, wait for us, Paul." Like we're the Beatles. That's not just Paul McCartney, But he was the creative genius behind it, in my opinion. Anyway, he's got Sun in Gemini, Mercury in Gemini. So that's very strong. Sun is ruling the 12th house, the creative house, house of the subconscious, North Node in the 12th in Virgo. Yeah, so writing, playing, Gemini's, skills of the hands, Jupiter's in Cancer. That's definitely going to help out a lot. Yeah, super strong chart for success and writing and communicating and doing this with musical instruments. Angela Merkel. Miss Merkel. Neptune in Libra, conjunct the MC. So this is not really a great combination because Neptune is for deception, right? If she's an actress, great. I mean, of course, she's got Saturn in Scorpio, like Queen Elizabeth in the 10th. So she wants to dominate, control, lead, harshly, right? She probably plays a nice girl on TV. She's smart. I mean, Mercury in Cancer, it's stationary though. I mean, Mercury in Cancer is not necessarily, it could be either way, but the stationary definitely makes her smart, right? It's also conjunct Jupiter and, Jupiter's exalted anyway. So Neptune is going to draw from Pisces, which is the third house, communication. Libra, it's just, yeah. I mean, with Neptune conjunct the MC, especially if it's like, with Abraham Lincoln, it was Saturn and then Neptune, but here it's Neptune with Saturn out of sign. It feels dishonest. It just feels like she can't really tell the truth. She's just gonna lie, and lie some more. And wait a minute, where is Venus? So Venus is in Virgo, it's the spot, yeah, ninth house. So it's, I mean, it's not really dignified either, right? Not a lot of dignity. Yeah. So yeah, I don't trust her for a second. I think she's a liar. Nostradamus, the great seer of 1503. Well, that's when he was born. The 16th century. Um, Sun in Capricorn conjunct Mercury and MC. Sun exactly conjunct MC. And then Sun ruling the fifth house. And fifth house for there's in the similar way that ninth house is related to spiritual things, the fifth house is also, but in a more mundane way. It's more mundane spirituality. It's spiritual practices. It's spiritual rituals, right? Ninth house is more like spiritual studies. Fifth house is like a bit more physical spirituality, right? And he would do these spiritual rituals to, I think he used a mirror and is it scrying? I mean, it's not crying, it's scrying. Crying, not scrying. Scrying, not crying. Um, but but that's a fifth house thing, right? And it's Captain. So yeah, definitely Captain Capricorn here. It's gonna make him an authority, definitely a powerful, strong leadership kind of figure. With the sun here, Saturn's in Cancer. Interestingly enough, conjunct Mars, but Jupiter is here dignifying all that in the fourth house. So he was at home, right? He was at home doing his stuff in secret, right? Fourth house is secret, but physical secret. Whereas eighth and 12th, especially 12th, is non-physical secret. Eighth could be sort of either way, right? But fourth house is very physical, right? So that's actually physically hiding in his home, right? But the Jupiter kind of dignifies all that, being retrograde. And then it's trying the moon and Scorpio in the eighth house. So, and then Uranus, so almost a grand water trine. But anyway. Yeah, just looking at the sun. And it's that, yeah, Saturn, fourth house. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Miss Dolly Parton. Are you shocked to see Uranus conjunct the MC? Are you absolutely shocked? Well, it's in Gemini, right? Skills of the hands. So she plays guitar, right? And sings. Uranus drawing from the sixth house, Aquarian. So like writing our own music, right? Just being a hard worker, being daily at it. Conflict. I don't know if she's very publicly confrontational, but maybe she is. Maybe there was, maybe at one point, I don't know. I didn't follow her career that closely, but Uranus, what is it? It does relate to rhythm, not necessarily harmony or music, but rhythm. So like drums. But that translates to music because if you got rhythm, then you're probably, you're halfway there, right? You're part of the way there. But, something shocking, original, unique, dynamic, and rhythmic to Dolly Parton, Uranus in Gemini. Ding ding. Say stupid thing. I do stupid things sometimes. Robert Pattinson. I chose this one because I thought it was really unique because you know what? Like when people are going to try out for movies, uh the casting director, the people are choosing like who's playing what role, they're I bet you like not like they're never looking at astrology. They're not looking at astrology. But like, okay, what is he famous for? Well, two things actually. I mean, one thing, mainly the Twilight series. He was the vampire, the main vampire, right? But then he also played Batman in the latest one. I didn't think he was very good at it, but he played it. And so what does he have? Mars exalted in Capricorn, exactly conjunct the MC, right? And then Mars ruling the seventh, so like leading man with the leading woman, right? Definitely needs to play with another um co-star, co-role, and 12th house, creativity. Right? So that's pretty prominent. That's pretty strong. I also have Mars conjunct the MC, and I included my chart, so we'll get to that at some point. just heads up. We can look to Saturn just because it's disposited, and that's in the 8th house. So again, very dominant themes, Scorpionic themes. Pluto's in Scorpio in the 7th, or 6th rather, moving into the 7th. But yeah. Roman Polanski. I can't even remember what he did. He made I'm drawing a blank on what movies he made, but I guess it doesn't really matter. But he made movies. He makes movies. Made. All right. Moon's in Cancer is conjunct Pluto, and the MC. Yeah. So, that is a really interesting combination. So there's going to be something very dramatic, emotional, right? Deeply emotional, but powerful and torturing. Like Moon conjunct Pluto is like torture. It's really mental torture, because the Pluto just makes the mind of so obsessive, right? And so like you're just like squeezing out these emotions, right? In the 10th house, so his movies are going to have this quality that is just, and I don't even remember what movies they are. I just know that this is what it's gonna be like, gut wrenching kind of stuff. Yeah, Moon's ruling the MC. Pluto, yeah, you could say Pluto rules, co-rules the 2nd house, so that works as far as like, aesthetics and speaking and all that. It's also part of a T square with Mars and Ceres and Uranus. Ceres is stationary, 7th house. That's going to be very, dramatic, really, this whole thing. Yeah. Anyway. Mr. Putin, Vladimir Putin, which is really interesting because Tucker Carlson is interviewing Vladimir Putin, and everyone's throwing a hissy fit, like, "Oh my God, he's not allowed to do that." Like, why? Like, what is everyone afraid that we're all going to learn about Mr. Putin? Putin's not allowed to speak. No, we can only hear one side of the story. We can only hear the American style of the story. Never listen to Putin because you will be lied to. No, I'm joking. You will not. We always have to hear the other side of the story. So yes, Tucker Carlson should absolutely interview Vladimir Putin because they're lying. American government's lying. They are. They always are. It's not anything new. It's not like they just started lying. The American government is 100% lying all the time. Like that's all they do is lie, right? So it just count on them lying. It's a given that they're lying. It's like that's ground zero that you start with the fact that they're lying, right, and take it from there. Of course they're lying, right? South node Pluto, in Leo. So he's a boomer, obviously. Pluto, very powerful, power, control, strategy, right? Domination, right? But then he's got North Node and Aquarius in the 4th house. So that's very social, political. 4th house for land, Aquarius for, social ideals. Yeah. Pluto drawing on the ascendant, right? Pluto co-ruling. He's got the same exact ascendant as me, pretty much. So that's interesting. And then Leo, definitely a kingly quality there. But he's more interested in the people and the land. But yeah, powerful career, powerful leader. Rihanna. Neptune in Capricorn, dignified by Saturn at 0 degrees Capricorn. And Neptune for an artist, like, great. We want that. Like, we want you to lie to us. It's not lie, it's like illusion, fantasy, right? But if a politician has that, well, she also has the Saturn, so that she'd probably make a better politician than a lot of people because Saturn in Capricorn is pretty trustworthy. It's a good leader, right? It's also good on Uranus, so radical leadership, but yeah. Anyway, let's see. Neptune is drawing from the Pisces, which is the 12th cusp. So it's highly, highly creative, right? And with her as a leader, natural leader. And of course, she also has her fashion company where she made billions of dollars. So that's a part of it, right? Because well, Neptune, but also Sat, because people really trust her. I think they trust her as a leader. I mean, as an authority. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Erwin Rommel. Okay, probably nobody knows who he is, so let me just read. Another Nazi, was one of the most distinguished German field marshals of World War II. He was the commander of the Deutsche Afrika Korps, also became known by the nickname the Desert Fox. For the skillful military campaigns he waged on behalf of the German army in North Africa, he was later in command of the German forces opposing the Allied cross-channel invasion at Normandy. Okay, well, I just want to include many different types, right? Many different examples. They can't all just be like actors and actresses and singers and stuff like that. But he has South Node conjunct the MC in Scorpio. So Scorpio MC, Sun. So yeah, I mean, Scorpio is it. I mean, for anything criminal, Scorpio, Pluto should play a prominent role. Right? Scorpio really likes to control others, right? Likes to dominate others. So we could look to Mars, Mars and Libra. That's not great. No integrity there, right? Definitely not honorable. We could look at the sun as well. Sun's ruling most of the seventh house, but not the seventh cusp. So interesting, but South Node, so early rise to a sort of Scorpionic career, which I would say being a Nazi is a Scorpionic career. Yeah. But North Node in the conjunctive IC means being concerned with the land, right? So I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, Mercury, Venus here going to help out with leadership. Sun is just going to be very ambitious to, make himself seen and known and heard in the public. Carl Sagan, North Node, Saturn in Aquarius, right? For the science, for the space, for his career, being public, right? Being on the TV, making himself known. Yeah, North Node. I mean, Saturn's ruling the ninth and 10th. Ninth for being like an expert, for having a career out of something he studied, science in this case, Aquarius. You could also look to Uranus because it's related to Aquarius, dispositing it. And that's in the 12th. Interesting. Which also lends itself to TV, fantasy, creativity, things like that. Brooke Shields. Brooke Shields was something about her was like when she's a kid, like she just they wanted her to be nude, or she wanted herself to be nude. I don't know. She was nude as a kid on TV and in magazines. I think even in Playboy. Like, why? I don't know. Like, I get that they're pedophiles, that they like nude little girls, right? That they're sickos in Hollywood and whatnot. But why her? Why only her? Like more than once it happened, like in movies and in play, like I don't something. But we can look to astrology. Right? Moon, Venus, North Node, Gemini, Stellium, right? Um, let's see, Moon exact, and then Venus. So Moon ruling the 11th house, so career success. But Venus is beauty, right? Um, Gemini's expression. So Venus is the second lord, ninth lord. I noticed something before, now I can't remember about this. Well, Jupiter is the fourth lord, so that is bringing in the youth element, right? Um, fifth lord Saturn's in Pisces. I know I'm getting off topic, but uh, fifth lord fifth lord is also youth or children, right? And Pisces is kind of sexual. Sixth, seventh. Anyway, perhaps there's something there. Chiron series, Pisces. Um, South node in the third, but it's disposited by Jupiter in Gemini, conjunct the sun in the ninth, but 10th whole sign house. So anyway, Moon and Venus are very feminine, and it shows the beauty, and then Gemini would bring in the communication, her beauty, her femininity, her womanhood, all being propelled to the public arena, um, even at a young age, because South Node, even though it's in the third house, is disposited by Jupiter, which is conjunct the sun and expanding her public fame. Yeah, ninth house, but 10th whole sign house is activating the MC, activating this whole stellium, Gemini. Alrighty. Wow. We really went through these pretty fast. Okay. I included Kristen Stewart because I thought it was really, really interesting because both her and Robert Pattinson have Mars exactly conjunct the MC. Uh, Robert Pattinson, Robert Pattinson has it in Exalted in Capricorn. She has it in Aquarius, but her Saturn is in Capricorn, right? Now it'd be interesting to do a synastry between them. But what's amazing is that the directors, the casting directors, they didn't know this. They're not looking at astrology, being like, "Oh, look, they both have Mars conjunct the MC, perfect for a vampire movie, right? Mars, Scorpio, right? Sexy, hot, young people, right? Better than Pluto because Pluto would be like the old grandma, grandpa vampire who's leading the whole troop. But these are like baby vampires, right? Like kitty hot vampires. So Mars, much more appropriate, right? And of course, Venus and Pisces and the 10th. So like, yeah, our beauty, public. Uh, so yeah. And then like disposited by Saturn and Capricorn in the eighth house, right? So definitely like that kind of the depth, the sexuality, the strength that comes from the eighth house, power, domination. And then North Node, of course, is going to amplify all that. Um, Aquarius is a little bit, Mars in Aquarius is not overly sexual, really, but she's a little bit weird, right? I mean, I like her. I mean, but you know, she's not like a sex symbol, but she has sexiness. Anyway, kind of this weird combination, Kristen Stewart. Um, Mars is ruling the sixth, so very, competitive conflict. She probably brings a lot of conflict to the public arena. And it's also dispositing the sun, but not ruling her house. But you could say like 11th house significations, career success, social groups, networks, hopes, wishes, dreams. Anyway, drawing from the sun, sextile the sun. Mars dignifying the sun in the 11th house, career success. All right. Last one is this guy, Joe Waxman. He's pretty mediocre. I don't know. But whatever. He's on here. So he's got his ascendant Lord Mars and Leo conjunct the MC. He must think he's a big shot or something. I don't think so. But he pushes himself, through his YouTube channel and likes to make videos and likes to be seen and heard um and then sometimes he goes on rants and like yells and screams and gets all Martian, right? And Mars is ruling the sixth house. He brings a lot of conflict and competition to the public arena, always challenging other people, right? In a public way, anyway. And it's obviously his ascendant lord. And then disposited by the sun in the eighth house. So astrology, occult, secrets, hidden things, all that. Um, yeah, Mars is sextile Venus. Some people like that. Some people like that combination, right? Mars sextile Venus makes this guy more attractive to some people. But anyway, yeah. So I'll just tell you from my personal experience, Mars conjunct the MC. Uh, it makes my energy definitely move towards the public, especially in Leo. Like I'm just driven to make these videos and be seen and heard. And I make fun of myself. I like to laugh at myself. And I think other people should, because, don't take yourself too seriously, right? I don't take myself too, maybe because Saturn's in Leo and it's not in the greatest dignity. So like, I know I don't have like tons of authority. So I have to laugh at myself. Um, yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. So that's that. We went through it. 46 charts, man. All right. But that's good. I don't want to take too long because then it gets kind of boring. But this is a good study guide for those of you who want to, get a better idea of what planets conjunct the MC might mean for you or for somebody else. All right. So just to wrap up, the MC is the most public place where in our chart, as opposed to the seventh house, the descendant, which is personal relationships, which can mean many people, but there's a difference. It's much more personal in the seventh house, much more public in the 10th house, right? 10th house is not personal, seventh house is personal. So that would be that difference. Anyway, guys, that's it for planets conjunct the MC. Hit that like button for me if you can. I would appreciate it. And subscribe if you haven't already. Book a reading with me. And that's it for now. Mediocre astrologer signing off. He's okay. Guys, laugh it off. Take a victory laugh. Win before you win. All that good stuff. All right. I'll see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.